and it is my favorite day of the week because I get to put the spotlight on somebody and have a conversation with an expert in their area. And I'm really looking forward to speaking with Jen Jones in a little while about networking and connecting. So glad you're here, Jen. I'm going to go ahead and give my digital marketing tip of the week, but which is actually, many people have seen this before, but I was reminded yesterday by somebody in another group that it's probably a good thing to share again. And I think it ties in with Jen's topic today about connecting and networking. So I'm going to, first of all, share my screen. If you guys are here, let us know you're here in the chat. I always forget this Facebook Live stuff. Let us know that you're here. Give us a thumbs up. Pop in your questions. Hey, here's a question. Do you identify as an introvert, an extrovert, or an ambivert? That'll be the question of today. Okay, so I love that term ambivert too. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen with you guys. This is what I call Rise Above Noise system, and it's really designed to help heart-centered entrepreneurs, right, shine their light, because I know that the people that are in my audience are changing the world one person at a time, whether they're coaches or they're creatives or they're energy workers, whatever it is that they're doing, they are making real changes in the world. And so if you're thinking, I don't know how to, what's all this about with the connecting and the networking and the digital, and it seems overwhelming, and right, Rise Above Noise works for me because it is so noisy on social media, and we need to be able to show up. So the Rise Above Noise system or program really focuses on the fact that you can dig into your core values, really figure out your mission, your ideal plan, and master your time, gain control of your messaging so that you can attract clients who align. So I guide my clients to make the best use of digital marketing in these particular areas. So first, we're going to really focus on your core values and your ideal clients. It doesn't help you to throw all the stuff out there, all the spaghetti, all the whatever, to just see what sticks. Really know what kind of a meal you are serving up and for whom. And then compelling content, that's where we talk about, you guys have heard me talk about it a million times, using your frequently asked questions to collect your frequently asked questions and use those so that you're creating content that answers the questions your ideal clients are asking. And then you want to offer proof of concept, and that's simply, you guys, testimonials and case studies. And I said simply, and I know that it's not that simple, but we provide systems for that kind of collection of data. And then how do you use that in digital so that it doesn't feel noisy, so that it feels authentic? We organize, and you want to organize and schedule yourself. We can talk about this a million hours, like what kind of content calendars do you have? Is it super simple? Do you just write it out? Are you using a scheduler? Are you not using a scheduler? But once you have like the very basics of ideas. I just did this with somebody this morning. It was like Monday it's this, Tuesday it's this. We did all the days, and it just felt, oh, okay. So now you're not wasting your time organizing and scheduling. And then you guys know I could talk about keeping in touch for days, but it's the truth, right? Like you can be throwing stuff out there, but unless you're creating those real touch points and nurturing them. And it can be, oh my goodness, I admire people like our friend Wendy. Wendy keeps in touch with people. She makes phone calls, she sends cards. I admire that. I do digital because it, again, as an introvert, it's something that gives me a sense of control. A lot of people are using send out cards right now. Thumbs up to the send out cards, folks that are working it. Like whatever you can do, especially now to keep in touch with people. And it's also that you end up showing up as somebody who can be of service. So even though it's maybe a digital marketing tip of the week, I think it's an everything tip of the week. It's just these 5 areas are what's going to make you feel in control and give you a roadmap to where you're going on that. So that was my little lecture for today. Let's see if I can stop sharing there. go here. And now I get to do what I love to do, which is shine the spotlight on an amazing entrepreneur. Jen and I met, I think, through Polka Dot. Is that correct? Or Pepper Lane? Maybe both?
Yeah, somewhere around there. I think we might have just seen each other in different areas and connected. So
Right. Yeah. All of a sudden, Jen was showing up on my feed everywhere, and her content was really compelling to me because she was talking about the issues that a lot of my clients are talking about, right? How to show up and not feel silly, how to show up and build relationships. So I'm really looking forward to our conversation. I got to do my thing. I'm going to do the official bio. All right. So, founder and master connector of Connect and Elevate, Jen Jones is an introvert entrepreneur with a passion to teach other introverts how to network and connect so that it aligns with their values. Through her journey, she's realized that although she is more of an ambivert these days, she still needs her downtime and alone time to recharge her energy. Building her real estate business over the past 16 years has shown her how important relationships are to nurture our souls in our business. And now her passion is to help other introvert entrepreneurs have the mindset, skills, and tools to network and connect using their own introvert gifts. And when I asked Jen, what is your superpower? Of course, she said it is connection. So good to have you here, Jen Jones, with the alliterative name.
thank you.
Tell me more about, first of all, so with, I guess, the whole topic, I usually say, like, what about your superpower? I think your whole topic is about your superpower, right?
Sure is. And
Yeah.
it's taken me a long time to cultivate it and realize that it is a superpower, to be honest. So I'm really excited I like that question because I was really excited to put that in there and feel confident about it.
Now, how did you decide, you were doing real estate, and I'm sure you've had to pivot a million times. How did you decide then to go into this other, like creating a group and helping entrepreneurs?
So about a year ago, I had gallbladder surgery and left me a lot of time sitting in a recliner. And although I like TV shows and I like movies, there's only so much time your brain can handle the technology. And so I was like, geez, at some point we're going to want to relocate. And I really don't want to restart a real estate business. It takes a lot to build those relationships. And so what can I do that, makes sense? And I said, well, I'll just stay open to whatever comes my way. And as I started talking with people, getting back out there in June, because this happened in May, I started talking to people and I kept hearing people say, oh my gosh, I'm seeing you everywhere. How are you networking all the time? Like, I'm so tired. Like, that stuff isn't for me. I'm not good at it. And so I was like, geez, why are people saying that they're not good at it? And I realized over time, it did take me a little while to get hit over the head.
Mm.
The majority of people that I was talking to were introverts. And I looked back and was like, holy moly, like I was an introvert. I identify as an introvert, but because I've gained these skills to network, I've realized that I'm more of an ambivert. So in between, a social introvert, you could say also. So that's sort of where I started. And my husband, I love saying this, my husband, I told him the idea and he's like, do you have time for that? And I'm like, no, but you know what? I'm not going to let it go. I'm just going to keep like little step. And I just kept talking to people. And so many people were so excited that I said, well, I'm starting a Facebook group. So I started my Facebook group in August of 2019.
Okay.
And it's just gone from there. I've done online series to just showcase amazing women business owners, and now have a paid membership called the Soul Tribe Community, where introvert entrepreneurs come in and we're able to network with each other and learn strategy like mindset, tools, and skills to become amazing networkers.
I loved hearing people's journeys, right? I love that you said that your husband asked, do you have time? And you were like, no, I got to do it. Like, you had a mission and you knew that you had something to offer other people. And I think that's the thing, especially if you're an introvert. And the people that I work with, often what I hear is what you said. I don't want to put myself out there. I don't want to feel silly. So tell me some of your tips to help people get over that part of it all.
Yes, absolutely. And I love what you were just talking about with your marketing tips. So I'm going to go out of order here just to kind of piggyback on what you were talking about. And that is, find forums that you can add value. So we all have our special superpower and we all have value to add. And so the first one is, find locations like on Facebook or LinkedIn that you can add value. And that could be, your genius tip, which is something that we have in our group. What is it that you're working on? Like Susan, you just did your marketing tip. And it's one of those things where when you start having conversations with the value that you offer in Facebook groups, I've only heard about LinkedIn groups. I'm not well versed in them. I'm a Facebook person, but that's where I add value and I see other people doing the same. And when we focus on the value and building those relationships, because when you put something out there that resonates with people, people are going to interact with that post. So I know, we have lists of our Facebook groups that we are like going to, and we're like, oh yeah, we have this to offer. We have this, we're doing this program, we're doing that. But remember that although you can advertise what you're working on, because I think that that's important, but for people to see that you're more than that is really important. And as an introvert, we really want to help people and listen. And so building those relationships online can be a little bit harder, but knowing that you're coming from a place of contribution always just lights everybody up. So that is my number one tip. And then the second one that piggybacks on what you were talking about earlier is that, reconnect with your existing network. And, I'm big on, you were talking about send out cards. I love handwritten cards. I do them a lot in my businesses. I call spoil my clients and people that I call my soul tribe, because I think it's really important to keep the relationship going is that, you just give a little bit, you give it here, you give it there, and it definitely comes back tenfold. And as long as your heart is pure, I feel like it's just an amazing opportunity to give. I like giving, and a lot of people that I work with are very much givers. And I know that you are too, Susan. So I would just say reconnecting with your network, and this can be overwhelming. Maybe you haven't talked with some of these people in a while, but I would just take a look at who you have on your list and say, who are the top 5 people that I haven't had the time to talk to. And now we're doing more Zoom, conversations, but it can be a phone call. You could meet socially distancing, and having coffee or tea. And so I would just encourage you as number 2 is to reconnect with your existing network. Maybe you are overwhelmed with being at home and you haven't had a chance to really look at the big picture. I think, I keep saying Susan because it's like, rise above the noise. There is so much noise. So when you're talking to people one-on-one, it definitely makes a huge impact. So I definitely encourage you to do that. My third tip is finding events that are on the smaller side. So there are some events that 20, 30, 40 people, and this is in person or even online right now, it can be overwhelming. So if you're new to networking or you're just starting to get back into it and you're like, oh, that's way overwhelming for me, start small. So start in places where you can go into like a mastermind that only has 10 or 15 people. And that gives you an opportunity to actually talk to each individual on a more deeper level, and you're able to connect on things, whether it's your business, and if you're masterminding, then you're also helping people at the same time. I think that's a theme in what I do with Connect and Elevate is that we're always out there helping and adding value, and those relationships happen because you find the right people, you attract the right people into your soul tribe. So I recommend, looking at, Facebook. I also recommend asking someone. So if you know someone who does a lot of networking, say, hey, I'm interested in this, but, I'm looking for like 10, 15 people at most, where would you recommend I go to do that? And I actually had someone Facebook message me and said, hey, I realized that I really need to start networking again more locally. Do you have any thoughts as to where I should start with that? And I gave her 3 or 4 ideas, and she's like, do I need to do all of these? And I'm like, no, no. Definitely evaluate what your goal is when you're going into networking events and pick one. You know, we talk about it, just pick one thing to do to bring your business one step further. And that's just one event. It doesn't have to be 10, it doesn't have to be 10 different ones. Figure it out. You know, it's one of those trial and errors where, you know, maybe it's not right for you. You've gone to a couple meetings, you're like, these are just not my people. And that's okay. You can say, thank you for your time and move on to something else. So number 4 is taking advantage of virtual networking. So I'll tell a quick story. I think we have time.
Yeah, we have
Is
plenty.
that last fall, I had a conversation with someone who does a lot of online programming, and she said, "Are you offering, you know, to teach how to network online?" And I'm like, "Oh gosh, no! I'm looking to teach people how to network in person because that's what we do." And it's so funny. 6 months later, we're in quarantine, and it's like that's all you can do is network online. So I would tell people to take advantage of virtually networking. There are so many opportunities to network online. And again, find those one or two and try them out. What I like about Zoom and the larger networking is that you can shut off your, you know, you can shut down your video. And so then, you know, if you need to use the bathroom or you just need a break as an introvert, you know, there's no escape plan, which I talk about when we're networking in person, is that you know where the bathroom is, you know where there's a place that you can sit quietly if you get overwhelmed. Or, you know, I'm only going to stay for an hour and then I have, you know, another commitment that I need to head off to. So there isn't as much opportunity to have an exit plan for virtual networking, but there is opportunity to meet some amazing people. If you keep it on the smaller side, your private messages don't get lost. So if you connect with one or two people virtually while you're in a meeting, I would definitely message them privately and ask how you can connect further, whether it's Facebook, email, text message, phone call. Definitely reach out to them privately. So that's my like little tip for networking virtually. And I think I just rambled a whole bunch of stuff, Susan. So, you know, any questions or something that I may not have touched on?
So I have so much, right? I'm actually just kind of typing into the chat here to see what other people have. I wanted to give a shout out to, yes, to the small networking events, and yes, to connecting one-on-one. Some of my favorite networking groups right now have been the smaller ones. Like Polkadot seems a little bit big, but it's a great way to reach people outside of your normal sphere because they've got all the national opportunities. You can, right now with Zoom, you can go to a meeting in Colorado, and Shannon Crotty is holding national calls all of the time. And I like what you're saying is to kind of see who's in the call. And I do like to have those private conversations. And while I'm talking about that, but I'm going to come back to networking groups in a minute, is that one thing that I've been guiding my clients with is I've been talking a lot about email marketing. As you know, that's kind of where I spend a lot of my time. And as a, you know, an added to the Facebook world, right? So Facebook to me feels like this, and sometimes I need that and I love that, but sometimes I need to be very focused and reaching out to, like you said, right, your contacts, your network in a real way. With my clients, we've been talking about having a freebie, a lead generator, an irresistible free offer, whatever it is that you have, and we can talk about those kinds of things. But what I've been saying to my clients is when you're prompted to put in your contact information into the networking chat, one of the things that I recommend people do is put in the link to your freebie. And that way you can say, I have this great, like to your point, being generous. And I liked what you said to, you know, your zone of genius, your genius tip. Like say, I specialize in, so mine right now is I have a workbook that will allow you to create your next 10 newsletters, if that's what you're doing is newsletters. And it gives 10 different templates and 10 tips on different kinds of emails. And that's what I offer, because that way people get in, they get the resource and now they're on my list, they can unsubscribe. It says right there, you've subscribed. And if you don't want it, go ahead and unsubscribe. So to your point, you get to be generous.
I like
Right?
that tip.
Yeah, I'd love for people, if you're listening now or later too, you know what? Feel free to drop the link to your own freebie in here. Like we can get all the freebies.
Right.
That's Polka Dot is big. Pepper Lane is a nice small networking situation because I think there's rarely more than 10. I don't know what their actual limit is. And it's that masterminding kind of a thing. Also, shout out to Javanya, who put together Twisted Networking, which if you guys have never tried that, give it a go. Look up Twisted Networking. Javanya is amazing, and she puts together really, what I love about her groups is that the questions are always different, and so you're
Yeah, I
connecting
like
at a
that.
different level. Yep. Stacy Shipman puts together monthly networking groups. If you guys haven't tried that, it's always fun. It's she's with Engage the Room. If I've missed anything, you guys, go ahead and pop those into the chat too. Those are the ones that I make a commitment to pretty much every month.
Yeah, so the other one that I recently have gotten involved in, oh, well, let me talk about Polka Dot real quick because I'm on leadership too. So our chapter actually offers masterminds every month.
Yeah.
So although you have like the bigger meeting, we are also offering something smaller, and that's the Worcester chapter. So be on the lookout for that too, is that, you know, you can get to know people a little bit better when you're in a smaller group. And then Women's Network. So I went to the Greater Hartford. I live here in Massachusetts. Went to the Greater Hartford one back in January or February. It was about a 45-minute ride, and really, it coincided with my Polka Dot meeting, or overlapped. So I didn't end up joining, but since now we've been online, I actually joined as a member.
Oh.
And they have some amazing things going on that you can do sponsorships, you can do, they also have a mastermind where you can, because it's a bigger group like Polka Dot because it's international. But then they have masterminds and smaller groups, and that is a very different layout too. I love Twisted Networking because of the breakouts, but Women's Network does the same thing. So you're able to really hit people one-on-one very quickly. All right, can we connect? Okay, yeah, let's connect. And so I think that's the opportunity that the bigger meetings don't necessarily offer unless you're really breaking them down into smaller groups. So I do like Women's Network. Just to plug that too.
I'm going to check that out. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You guys, I'm putting all of these in the chat. If you know of others, pop them in there. I think that would be great to have a resource where we can kind of support. And it's interesting too, because I love meeting all of the new people that I do meet on these national calls, especially now where I went to a Polka Dot. I went to the Hanover Polka Dot and the Blackstone Valley one recently. And it was nice to see different people. I should say that the Central Rhode Island one that I'm on leadership there is also, we also do a mastermind.
Awesome.
It happens to be at the same time as this call, so I've not been able to go. But because this is my one commitment, as you guys know, this is my, find what you love and make that your commitment. And this is the highlight of my week, is to interview people and then put it out on my on all of my platforms so that it's searchable and I have things that I can offer people and shine the spotlight on people. And especially when I get somebody like Jen, who's just so generous with her tips, and she's got her own group, right? What's the name of you have a Facebook group?
Yes, so I have a free Facebook group called Connect and Elevate, and we can pop that link in there afterwards. Yep. But it is just an opportunity to get to know get to know more introvert entrepreneurs. What's nice about it is that I have brought in so many different people from different areas. So it's not just all, there's definitely some people who are Polka Dot Powerhouse members. There are people who are Women's members. So there's definitely a gamut of women in there, and they just offer so much value in the group that I'm excited that it's growing as well as it is. And we're just wrapping up our online series too. So you can check that out in there too.
There's been so much. And I know that there's so many opportunities to learn right now, but one of the things that I've started focusing on, you guys, which maybe is a helpful tip to you, is I actually went through all of the groups that I'm following, and I made a spreadsheet, because you guys know that I'm geeky that way. And I made a spreadsheet and I made the links there, and I kind of rated them as to which ones I want to spend some more time in, and which ones were adding value, and which ones were just, there are some groups that they say, pop your link in here, and there's 300 names in there.
Yeah.
And it's nice, and maybe you'll get found, but it's not the same as when you have somebody like Jen, and I would say with the Rise Above Noise group, same thing, like go in there and start building the relationships by having those conversations and inviting people into your sphere.
I guess I geeked out too. Like probably about a month ago, I did the same thing. I had my spreadsheet, because I think if you have a goal to get into, certain groups that you want to continue to add value and connect with people, I think it's important to be very, what's the word? Structured.
Yeah, structured. Yeah, strategic, and don't waste your time, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I did was I made that spreadsheet, and I made I made the days at the top, and I made a note of which days you can whatever.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I had been doing, but it got so overwhelming because there were so many groups, was now I've narrowed it down to like 10 that I really love. And I'll go in and I'll check, I'll only spend about a half an hour a day, you guys. I go in and I check what conversations are happening. I'll comment, I'll share, I'll like as much as I can, amplify some of the conversations. And that way, when it is that day that you can post whatever events you have coming up, it doesn't look like you're just posting in there for whatever reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We speak the same language.
I think it's about being real and being generous. It feels good to be generous. And I'm going to say that to you guys over and over again with email, excuse me, is the same thing. Like, you're not going to just throw stuff out there. Make sure that whatever you're creating speaks to that one person that you're talking to and feels like giving to you, so that you don't feel that icky feeling that you're being too selling.
Exactly.
I fight that a lot. I know. I was just on a webinar last week, and the guy was like, yeah, well, that when my card is closing, I'm going to be sending 10 emails out that day to tell people. I'm like, oh my, that would not be me. I'm going to mute for a half a second to clear my throat.
Oh my goodness.
I got so excited. Everything went down. So good to have you here today, Jen. Is there anything else you'd like to?
No, I mean, I have 100 more tips, but those were the big ones. And I also encourage introverts to take a look at your gifts, because I did a masterclass a couple months ago and went through some of the gifts that introverts have, like great listening skills, great leadership skills. And I had people who were like so overwhelmed that they were like, what? Like, that's a gift? Like, that's a positive? And that was just, my heart was so filled. And so if you get an opportunity to come on to my Soul Tribe Masterclass, I'll be hosting it again free in my group next month. Come on in, because I really think that, getting to know who you are and what your gifts are really makes it makes you more confident in going out there and talking about your passion.
I love that. What a great day to start the day. I'm going to write down my gifts a little bit here. Thank you, Jen. So good to see you here. I will see you on your group.
All right, perfect. Thank you.